Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today we're going to begin the journey to Relic, this polyurethane finished neck off of my 2016 Chinese-made Classic Vibe Stratocaster. We've already done the hardware and the body. If you go to the playlist, you can check out those videos. They'll be linked below. But today we begin the neck. It has a very thick polyurethane finish on it. I really love the tint, so we're gonna, that will be maintained. I'm sure that it's buried underneath the poly. And what is gonna happen here is we're gonna try to replicate pick wear in this area, because back when I was younger and played live all the time, I hit my guitar right in this area with my pick all the time because I wore it pretty low. So we are going to be getting rid of some finish down here on these lower frets, get it down to raw wood. We are going to be putting some dents and dings in it, nothing too crazy. We will be getting some of that gloss finish off of it. So I'll be showing how I go about doing that. We'll put some chips in it around the headstock because I was always hitting things. So we're going to endeavor to make this look as if it is a neck off of a guitar that I played for 30 years. So without further ado, we're going to get to the bench and get started. All right, so I have this neck prepped for a fret level. I've gone through with my Sharpie, I've marked all the frets, standard procedure there. I have my 9.5 inch radius sanding block here with some 400 grit sandpaper already put on it. Has adhesive on it, so it just sticks right on the block. I will be linking below my video on fret leveling and dressing, but I'm not going to be going through that entire procedure here. But I thought it would be fun to go ahead and hit it with this on camera to see how much actually needs to be taken off these frets to get them leveled. I did check this guitar when I bought it, and I deemed it not really eligible for a fret leveling. All the frets seem to be fine. I'm doing this because I want to put wear on the guitar. So normally I would go ahead and blue tape the fretboard off to protect the finish on the fretboard. We're after the opposite of that. I'm going to go ahead and level this, then I'm going to polish all the frets, go through the whole process with very fine sandpaper and steel wool. And the idea is that we're going to dull this neck in the process. And it can't hurt to go ahead and do a fret level. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get started. And another thing of note here, real quick, is that there already is a big ding in the middle of the neck. So the relicing process has already begun on this guitar to a certain extent. So what I do at this point is I've got my Sharpie on the frets. I'm going to go ahead and start working my sandpaper here and my block. And we'll see how much actually has to come off of this. And just as I suspected, there's hardly a high or a low fret on this. Everything's looking really good here, especially up here on the top portion of the neck. Down here a little bit lower, it looks like our 12th fret has a low spot in it. Not too severe. Actually, that low spot's already been worked out. And it looks like our final fret here is low on the guitar, the 21st fret. And that is not a bad thing, because it being the last fret, oh geez, I really don't need to go any further than that. I probably will run the block a little bit more, maybe to try to get that one level, but since it's a little bit lower, it doesn't affect playability or buzzing or rattling or any of that stuff. So kudos to whoever built this guitar in 2016 in China for the fretwork. The fretwork is actually really good on this guitar. I took a little bit off just now just to get it level, but mainly so that I can go through the process of sanding out the frets and polishing them, so that that process takes some of the finish off of the actual fretboard. So there we have it. We'll be back right now. All right, so I've done the fret level. It turned out really well, and I polished all the frets. One thing of note though, while I was polishing the frets out with the wet dry sandpaper, working my way up to the steel wool, is that this really thick poly kind of heats up a little bit, and it would grab some of the shavings from the sandpaper and the fret material and kind of leave dark streaks in the finish of the neck, which easily buffed out with steel wool. However, I found a way to mitigate that as I was going along. I just used the sandpaper wet. That kept the poly a little bit cooler, so it didn't get tacky and start grabbing all of the shaving material. All right, if you take a look at the face of the fretboard versus what it looks like on the sides, you can see how I have a nice matte finish on here now. It replicates the years and years of me doing string changes and basically buffing my frets like this with no care or regard to the finish of the neck, which is how I used to do it. So I've done that part of the aging process. Now it's time to move on to rolling the fretboard edges. I will start using a utility blade and run that up and down till I break through the poly. Then I will wrap this cork in some 400 grit sandpaper and work in as much of the rounding as I want. Probably more rounding on this side than this one. This one will just get a light round, do a pretty heavy one down here, and then we'll take a look at the result right now. I just had to fire the camera right back up and I want to show just how much poly is actually on this neck. I'm running the razor blade down it for like maybe the 10th, 12th time, and just look at all of that. I mean, I'm not even to the sandpaper yet, and it is just wild how much polyurethane is on this neck. It's crazy. Right back. Well, that was quite a journey to get through all of that polyurethane, but I do have a really nice beveled edge on this lower part, on the bottom part of the neck. I've replicated the wear pretty well so far as how far I would have gone just on that side of the neck. On this side of the neck, I went really light up until here because, as I've talked about, back in the day, I used to hit my necks right in here with my pick over and over again, and that's going to be that's going to be where the heaviest relic is, right there. And I really took a lot off down there. I have not messed with the heel or anything yet because that is going to be our next step. I'm going to take the razor blade and my scalpel blade, and we're going to start removing material here and probably up a couple frets to replicate, maybe not two, but just right in this area here. We're going to remove all the poly down to wood, and kind of in this area as well too, to replicate the kind of wear that I used to put on a maple neck back in the day. All right, I am going to work on that probably off camera and just take pictures. I'll come back with the result, run the pictures while we look at the result, and we'll see that right now. Once again, there'll be some pictures up on the screen. I have managed to remove the wood in between the frets here on the lower, let's say starting about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about the 15th fret down. I went ahead and gouged some wood out from in between the frets just a little bit, not enough to compromise the seating of the fret, but to show that a pick would have been hitting it over and over again. I have removed some material here on the heel down to the wood, and then, I think that what's left now is to actually try to put some real, mechanical wear on it. And I teased this in a short, and what this is that I've taken basically a concrete floor spacer that has 4 raised areas that are just like guitar picks on this drill. And what my plan is now is that I'm going to run that, like right here on the heel, to kind of finish off the relic. I've used a blade up to this point, and I've used a little bit of sandpaper and some steel wool, but now it's time to go ahead and put this mechanical force into it, put some nice divots in there around the heel of the neck, and then we'll move on to putting The final phase, I think, of the Relic on this will just be putting some dings and dents in the headstock. I'm not going to bother with filming that. We'll visit that right now in our post-game analysis. So here we are. There is a blizzard outside right now, so if you hear wild noises coming through the microphone, I don't think the microphone will pick them up. The wind is howling, things are blowing around outside. It's a little bit wacky, but I'm going to buckle down and go over how I feel about the final result of relicing this neck. I realize once again, if we're looking at this, it doesn't look like, it's not crazy, but if you notice, if you look at the headstock luster versus the fretboard luster, the fretboard is definitely matte finished now. The frets are all beautifully polished, and they would be even on my most beat up old instruments because I always keep my frets in good shape. If we can sneak this in without the camera getting too wild, I've got the wear down on the heel at a level that I really like. Using the drill tool, put some nice rough edges on that and allowed me to work some dirt down into it. And the same here on the top part of the neck by the frets. So it looks very much like my guitars that have been played for 30 years, which is what I was going for this entire Relic. I may make a video, a follow-up video, just a short one, like a bonus video, not make it one of my main releases of the week, of the guitar when I have it all back together. But with the neck has been worn in now, and we've got some nice divots here. I put a few little, dings on the headstock. I've got pictures going by over here with all the details. Some of them you may have seen earlier in the video. I will probably rerun a few of them just to kind of show off what all went into this. But now, and especially with the rolled fretboard edge, it just feels like a neck that's been played. And when it's on the guitar and all of it's back together, I think I'll get that experience that I'm looking for when I pick up, my 82 black Strat or my Tokai Strat that I've had since 1989, 1990-ish or so. And that's what I wanted. Really quick, just to finish up the series here on relicing this instrument, I bought it because it looked exactly like a Tokai that I let go of in the early 90s. I traded a Gibson Les Paul at the time, for 2 Tokai Strats, one of which I kept. And what I did was, with those Tokai Strats, is I took the best neck of the two and the body that I liked the best of the two, put those two together, then sold the other one. The one that I got rid of the body that was the two color Sunburst. It was like a 50s replica. And I bought this guitar because I wanted the vibe of that instrument that I no longer had. And this guitar had it, but it didn't have the character that I wanted. So by going through this relicing process, I really feel like I have bonded with this guitar now. I've touched every part of it. I've altered every part of it, either cosmetically or otherwise. And now I feel really invested in the instrument, and I feel like it's something that I'm going to want to play, and that will become part of my inner circle of guitars rather than being an outlier, which is what it was before. And in a few weeks, like I said, follow-up video, and we'll see how I feel about it once I play it for a while. Expect to see it on camera quite a bit, and if you made it this far into the video, please like and subscribe. Shares are greatly appreciated. Leave a comment. What did you think of this process? This is part of a video series. There's a playlist detailing the entire process of relicing this 2016 Classic Vibe Squier Stratocaster. It's the 50s version, and just let me know what you think. All right, hit that subscribe button on your way out. I thank you so much, and take care.